first of all, thank you so much for being here. And this is your journey, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. And I consider myself a tour guide like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm kind of doing a tour through your inner galaxy. So today's conversation is actually more intimate than any of the conversations we've had so far, because we're dealing with the human body, but it's also connected to your energetic body and your emotional body. It's all connected as one. So you can feel a lot of emotions just with different health situations. And sometimes it's hard to untangle that. And so you can get very emotional sometimes if you don't feel good. And sometimes you want to give up and you don't know what to do. And you go to Western medicine and you try to find ways to heal. And then you also feel helpless and you feel like this is never going to end. And you can get very mentally drained and exhausted. Do you guys relate to that?
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. Hi, Christy. Okay, so here's where I'm going to start. First of all, I'm going to start with Ray. Now, Ray, you told me something off camera about your health condition. How willing are you to speak about it publicly?
As much as it takes.
Okay, so we're going to start with you, because what I would like to do is actually use you as the guinea pig.
Oh, perfect. I love that.
I'm going to be working and showing you how to reverse engineer your own belief systems and how it shows up and manifests in the body. So, Ray, you told me that you have how do you pronounce it?
Fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia. It's so hard to pronounce. Now, I've researched this condition before, and Lady Gaga has this condition, and she's very public about it. And it is a very painful dis-ease in the body, and it cannot be located with traditional Western medicine. You can't actually physically find it in the body. It moves around the body and flares up at any given time with these very sharp pains, and it can be extremely draining and very psychologically and emotionally exhausting. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. They actually thought for a really long time that it was actually a psychosomatic disease.
Well, everything is a psychosomatic disease.
Exactly.
And I do feel and believe that, especially this one, it is. So I'm going to show you a couple places to look. So imagine you are a treasure chest and you are full of treasures. You have gold nuggets and you have coins and you have everything that you have collected over the years that you have found all over the planet, and you have it in this treasure chest. Your body is a treasure chest, right?
Okay.
Okay. So now on the outside of your body, well, on your skin and your nerve endings, you feel pain, right? And very uncomfortable. Okay. So what you do is you have to go into the treasure chest and you go around, and you're going to have to sift through, and you're going to have to look through all of the items within the treasure chest to find which is the corresponding tune that matches the note of the pain.
Yeah.
So the first, and hi Sharma.
Hi.
The first attribute of fibromyalgia is pain. That's the first line on the list. I have pain. So if we isolate the sentence, I have pain, we can review and look back to find the first time you started to experience pain as a child. And then you start to see the degrees. Some people have pain, like their parents get a divorce or something, and they just, eventually move on and find ways. And you're also very young too. You're 19, right?
20.
20, okay. So in this case, what happened was you went from level 1 pain to level 20 pain in your interior self, in your inner body. So what started out as no fibromyalgia, no pain, you went from that to pain emotionally first. Then you locked it into your system You locked it into your physical being, your cellular programmable being. It then stayed dormant inside of you, quiet. You kept feeding this information to your body that you are in pain. You kept repeating the conversation 100,000 different ways. And then you kept going with this conversation until it became bigger than you. When the conversation of pain became bigger than you, you were now a slave to the pain. As you still didn't find ways to release it and you kept it within your being, it then starts to manifest from the inside out. And that's how it shows up. It shows up on your interface, on your skin. It shows up as the last resort to get you to handle the pain that you started with once and for all. So if I tackle the conversation of fibromyalgia, I'm really not doing you any service if I'm only speaking about this dis-ease. So it's really about where you fell out of equilibrium and you fell out of your own mental and emotional balance, and you became panicked and upset and hurt at a young age. That's where we have to begin. So can you tell me, and can you remember any incidences that you feel free, only say what you want to say publicly? So, and that includes online. So yeah. You can say it however you'd like, and you'll always help anyone who's listening, because we all have our things.
I don't really mind sharing whatever it is about me. I have very few notions of privacy left.
Okay.
But I would say my life has been a series of trauma, basically, since a really young age.
Okay, so let's go to the earliest memory. Can you remember the very first memory?
The very first one. Probably separation. Not being able to be around my parents as much as I wanted, not having attention.
Okay, now was that in your home or were you removed from your home?
It was in my home. My parents would work all the time, and
Okay.
the person who basically raised me was my grandfather.
So you were experiencing separation anxiety.
Honestly, I would think that it's less of an anxiety and more of a loneliness kind of thing.
Okay. Now, when you have loneliness, the very first thing that happens, and by the way, I have a very similar story, and I had a lot of suffering in the body because of it. I have almost an identical story, a lot of isolation and separatism and loneliness as a child. I grew up an only child and only one parent at home, and she was not available. So I was very much on my own. I liked some of it, but some of it was not good. So, okay, and obviously we chose this as a soul. We chose to have this experience for a reason. Always remember that. Okay, so you started very young, as far back as you can remember, that you felt isolated and alone. Now notice the feelings of isolation and alone. So all of you guys in the group today can go ahead and tune in with Ray. We could do this together. So just tune into what does it feel like to be really alone. Not hard for us to find. Okay, so we're all alone, right? You feel alone. Now what's the first thing that happens? Your body starts to react. You guys all with me on that? You start to feel emotions rise up in your body. Now, some of us will feel flushed, like I feel hot. That's the feeling that came up for me. I started to raise my body temperature, started to go up because I got worried and concerned the second I started tuning into loneliness. I started to panic. If you go deep enough into it right now, while we're sitting here together as an experiment, you can start to feel some symptoms. Can we all try this together? We're doing an experiment. Okay, and Al, can you sit closer? Because this is kind of an intimate conversation, so we want to feel close. Okay, so imagine now we are alone. You are alone, very, very alone. There's no one around. You're small. You need help. You need friends. You need attention. You can't do this by yourself, and you're really scared. Okay. Raise your hand if you're starting to have symptoms. Perfect. We're empathing, right? Okay. Now I'm getting pins and prickly feelings in my body. My nerve endings are tickling because I'm nervous. I'm scared and I feel uptight and there's like a pounding heart, like a fear. Leslie, what about you?
My stomach is upset and I'm shaky.
Perfect. Al?
Tightness of chest, and then stomach starts to feel like it's going like that.
Okay. Sharma?
A little queasiness in my stomach.
Like nervousness.
A little bit, yeah.
Lindsay? Christy, did you feel anything?
Yes, ma'am. I'm crying. My chest is real tight and my stomach is bothering me.
So let's just take a moment here. This was an experiment to show you we're actually doing this together live right now in the moment, not rehearsed, instantly activated. We all felt it. We're in the first beginning stages of it, only 5 seconds of focused intent. Imagine an hour. We did this for an hour. Now we do this for 12 hours, nonstop. 12 days. 12 days. 12 years. That is what happened. So your body said, help. SOS. Ray, help me help you. So you said, how dare you turn on me? How did you turn your back on me? I've been so good to you, body. Why would you do this? And I'm so young, it's not fair. So where do we go? Where's our focus? What's not fair? How this happened to you, it's not fair. You're so young, it's not fair. Why can't I be like everyone else? It's not fair. So instead of focusing on the solution and going to the core, you go to, it's not fair. This doesn't feel good. And that's where you put your time and attention. Now imagine you put your time and attention there for years. So guess what? You now just built another layer of how this doesn't feel good and how it's unfair. Now that becomes the second temple that you will be going to worship. And this will be your God, the second God you've created. The first God was pain. The second God is, I'm upset, it's unfair. Now we have two gods we worship. Ray in the middle of it is nowhere to be found. Where did Ray go? Ray is torn between these two temples, being pulled. Pain, it doesn't feel good, it's unfair. Pain, and back and forth, right? Ray is in the middle saying, what about me? Again, I'm being ignored by my own self. Now I'm taking it out on myself, what I experienced. Now I'm going to punish myself for not being in control. So now we have another temple. We have the third temple called, I'm not in control. I'm helpless. I'm weak. I don't feel good. No one can help me. That's temple number 3. So now you have 3 temples that you're worshiping at. We still can't find Ray. Ray doesn't want to be found at this point. There's nothing exciting about Ray. Ray says, this doesn't feel good. Get me out of here. Why did I come to this planet? This is all very unfair. It started from when I was young, so at least you knew that part. And then guess what happens? You get mad. Well, of course you get mad. Who wouldn't get mad at those 3 temples that you're worshiping every day? Those are not fun temples.
Hi guys, I can't see you.
Okay, Tor, you're fine. You'll just work on your video, but we hear you. We just see your profile picture. And we're in the middle of a talk, so just come in quietly and just set yourself up. You should be okay.
Got it.
All right. So, Ray, what are you thinking about so far?
I totally understand. Completely. It's 100% this.
Okay.
On point.
Whew. So you take a deep breath here. Okay. So here's a couple things you need to know. First of all, Ray did nothing wrong. Does everybody agree in the group that Ray did nothing wrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a little kid. She's running around. All she's trying to do is feel good and feel better. She doesn't know where this went wrong. She doesn't know how this fell apart. She doesn't know how she got lost. She doesn't know why she has these 3 temples. And she doesn't know where in the heck did she go. She used to be here. Where is she now? So then she gets this feeling of feeling lost. Okay, so now we add lost as the 4th temple. Now from here you can see the idea that you can keep going adding temples, right? So imagine now you have all these temples, and I bet you $1 million every single day you go to those temples. Once in a while, you'll find a nice little temple you'll make for yourself called a club or friends or something fun, and maybe you'll go visit that fun temple for a minute, but then you got to go back because you got to punish yourself now because you've been bad. You've been visiting these bad temples. They've been feeding you bad information, and you've been feeling worse. So now you're really mad, but you're mad mixed with sad. That's not a good combo. If you mix sadness and you mix anger together, what do you have? Imagine you're already feeling lost. So now you're angry and lost and mad. Oh, you just want to give up at this point. But you're feisty. You're young, you're bright, you're smart, and you say to yourself, I can lean on myself. I have what it takes. That's not a problem. I'll move forward. I'm a warrior. I can do this. So you build an identity to put in front of all the chaos that's happening. And she's the one that goes to school, puts the backpack on, says nice things to friends, and gets in the subway and does the things that she needs to do. And she's your friend because she got you through the worst. She can help you, right? And somehow you found this group. Maybe she found it. And so then you say, I have fibromyalgia. It is not that you cannot locate this disease in the body through Western medicine or any type of measurement system. You cannot find it or locate it. All you can do is feel it. How interesting. So you have a situation that you can only feel, only Ray can feel this. The doctor can't feel it. Your friends and family can't feel it. It is just for you. A reflection of your pain that has gone undiagnosed, unrealized, untouched, and not taken care of. So by
invalidated.
So by the time you meet us, look how far down the road you are from the original spot. And look at how many temples you built. And look at the identities you put on top of it. And then you say, why do I have fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia means that there's random pain that hits at any time, given moment. It attacks the nervous system. It flares up. It makes me feel unhappy, uneasy, queasy, tired, exhausted. There's pain on the skin, uncontrollable, nothing works. This is as easy as it gets. You actually gave me a very easy one. This is a super easy one. Because it's not even manifested in a way that you can actually target it with some sort of medicine or vaccine or something. There's no actual location. So it is 100% emotional. 100% emotional. Now, in the beginning, if somebody told you that, you would say, oh, great. You tell me it's emotional now? What am I supposed to do with that information? I have all these temples I'm going to all the time. It's not fair. I can't just go in and unlock all of these temples myself. So what do? So then you give up. I guess I have fibromyalgia now. Oh, well, I guess that's the rest of my life. That's called a death sentence. But it has nothing to do with you being wrong or bad, that you did it on purpose. You had no idea what you were doing. You had no idea that this is happening. There's a part of you that said, could I stop this? Maybe. Maybe. 1% chance I could probably get a hold of this. But you were too exhausted by that time to figure out where that little crack in the door was, to find the answer and the solution. So the reason I did this overview, I wanted you guys to all see how I reverse engineer a diagnosis. You go through the emotional body, you go through your belief systems, you go into your storyline, like your temple of like your drama of how you created it. And then you have to stop everything and get very, very small, super, super tiny. And you have to go in and have a conversation with little Ray. You have to tell her a lot of things. She needs to hear a lot of things. She needs to hear if it's safe to come out now. She needs to know if this whole life was an accident or is it okay. She needs to know if she does come out, are you going to support her and love her? She also wants to know if somehow she had something to do with all of this. She wants to know if she created it. Now, if you say no, she did not, be careful here, right? Because where is all your power? Your power is in self-creation, just as a concept, just as a thought, correct? It feels good to think of yourself as a self-creator because it's like you don't leave it up to anyone else, right? So if you come from, I created this, I have no idea why, I have no idea how, but I'm willing to look at it. You are already in the door. At least if you start that conversation, the next following conversations will be a lot easier. Because then you can negotiate with yourself and start to bring the walls down. You'll have to go backwards though, so you'll have to undo the anger. You'll have to reverse the anger, which means you have to acknowledge you're angry, you did nothing wrong, your parents did nothing wrong, your grandfather did nothing wrong, you're teaching yourself how to be in your body. And then you repeat that 4 million times. You could play this video back, okay? You constantly remind yourself, nobody did anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. My parents didn't do anything wrong. My grandparents didn't do anything wrong. And I'm just learning how to be in my body. That sounds logical and reasonable, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see how you start to unwind the power of damage. There's powerful damage. It's psychological, but it's damage nonetheless. You feel damaged. You reverse that. That is called self-healing. And some people call that metaphysical because you're into the quantum realm. So you're outside of the physical body and you're going into the quantum realm. So you're going into the realm that you don't see with your naked eye, but you can see with your inner eye. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay, you feel good?
Yeah, better.
Now, if you want me to walk you through step by step, that's a whole nother thing. I have to do another class. It has to be just you, and then we go for an hour. But basically what you do is you're just going to go back with the instructions I gave you, and you will start to see yourself unwind this story. And you may have to cry in bed. You may have to talk to your parents. You may have to tell your friends. You may have to write in your journal. There may be a lot of things you have to do in order to get to the bottom of this. but at least you have a starting point. How do you feel?
Hopeful. I mean, I think I've gotten to the point of getting over the anger, and like I've already acknowledged that I did this. It's a manifestation. It's here for a reason. I already got that. I could not locate where that comes from.
Okay, but do you understand now? You know where it comes from?
Yeah. Yeah, now I get it.
Okay. So question to the group. I could take one more person, or I could do general messages, like just speaking on the topic of how. So I just love to hear feedback on what you guys feel, and I'll take the majority rules.
General's fine.
What was that?
I think you can do the general.
General?
Yeah.
Is that what you guys are feeling? Okay.
Yeah, general's good.
General's good. Okay. So personally, when I start to feel bad in my body, it's always coming from the same place. It's always a feeling of being uncomfortable. That's the first and foremost emotional feeling that I have. Do you guys notice that when you're not feeling well in your body? You're uncomfortable. But if you really take that apart, you'll notice it's not just your physical body that it's uncomfortable, but it's your actual emotional body that's uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable in yourself, in your mind, in your environment. There's something in there that doesn't feel right. It's off. Something doesn't feel balanced. Something's not connecting. Something is not flowing. It's like something being stuck. It can't get through and it can't get out. So you feel uncomfortable. You guys recognize that feeling with yourselves? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Now, there's two ways to go about this. There's the immature way, which I will go into detail. And there's the mature way. Let me tell you the immature way, because that's the funnest and we get a lot out of it anyway. So let me just explain. The immature way is, first of all, we are going to prepare ourselves to have a field day and go to the furthest extent of self-expression so we could really feel the juice of being uncomfortable. You go all the way.
Oh, it's cold.
How uncomfortable can I feel right now? Let me check.
Cold.
Right.
Clammy and cold.
Yes, that's right. And you start to feel like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. Let me see if I can feel a little bit worse about it. Just for a second, not for a long time, just for a second. I just want to see if I can feel bad for a little bit longer, because then I can really know if it's really there. But guess what? The thing is, you don't realize you're self-creating. So as soon as you say that, you just created another length of time to feel uncomfortable, because you're programming yourself every time you speak, internal or external. So the second you say, let me just feel a little bit more of this feeling, because I want to be for sure that this is what I'm feeling. So what you're actually doing is adding more meat on your sandwich. So it's a bigger sandwich. So actually you're consuming the idea something's wrong and you don't feel good. Now, that's the immature way of doing it. Now, the mature way of doing it is you acknowledge you're uncomfortable. Like if you got stung by a bee, oh, look at that, I got stung by a bee. Wow, let me go handle that. That's the mature way of handling it. So when you get this uncomfortable feeling as a mature soul, you say, wow, look at that. I'm really uncomfortable right now. Oh, look at that. I actually ended up in the ER. That's incredible. Look at that. I'm in the hospital now. Wow. I really just wanted to find out, I guess, how far I can actually go with this. Or look at me. I'm in a ball under the table shaking, and I think I need to go on meds because I really lost it. Been there, done that one. So then you go, the mature you will say, oh, wow, I'm super uncomfortable. And if just with my own intellect, my own experience, I know that if I were to go into this further, of course, I'm going to make it worse. So that maturity grabs you and gets control of the addiction to the experience of having it not feel good. There's an addiction, chemical addiction. You can trust me on this. You can research it. You can do your own studies. There is a chemical addiction to an emotional trigger, quote unquote, reaction to a feeling that you're having. So now you're honing in on the feeling that you're having. You get a little jolt, a little juice, a little anger, a little upset, something happens. That little feeling, you feel not so alone because you're having some fun with yourself. You're playing some games. And the game is, I don't feel good right now. And then you go into, so what do I do about this? If you have been able to go all the way through into past the addiction, past I need to feel this again, past I need to recreate that, you keep going and you stay calm and you go into, I don't need any more information about this feeling anymore, then I can then solve it. You could apply this principle to any area of your life. Anywhere there's pain and hurt. I don't need any more information in this area anymore.
Oh.
So I don't need to feel this anymore. There's nothing in here for me. That's the fast way out. If you want to go slower and more methodical and break it into millions of pieces, you can say, well, what's the reason that I put myself in this situation? Let's get down and dirty. Let's find out what happened. You can do that. Take your time, go in. It can take you months and years and weeks. You never know. However long it takes, right? With the experience that I've had with my body, and I loved to process as an empath, I love to process everything through my body. So as I'm constantly getting sick and ill and this and that and the other over the years, I finally got to the point where I did not want to experience any more dis-ease, illness, or pain in my body from head to toe. I was finished and done with the conversation because I refused to be educating myself through those means anymore. I can't do it anymore. I'm mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. I'll tolerate ascension symptoms if I have to and minimize them as much as possible. I am no longer getting the drama, the fix, or the addiction off of the joyride of the roller coaster of pain.
Perfectly said.
I'm done with it.
Done.
I had to come to that conclusion myself. It was a personal choice, has nobody involved. You are the creator, God of yourself. So you have to get to the point where you're done. You know what else I had to do when I was doing that? I had to go review the DNA, data, history of my family and ancestors, because guess what I found in there? I found a lot of matching evidence that they did the same exact thing.
Wow.
Oh man, this was bad news because I said, uh-oh, everybody in my family got cancer. Oh, that's bad. I don't, no. Oh, look at that. Everybody on my dad's side died from heart attacks and heart disease. Oh, look, I have heart palpitations. Maybe I'm next. Oh, look, they died young. Oh, shoot, maybe that could be me. You know this one? You start wondering, oh no, I'm next in line.
What if? What if?
Here we go. Get on the gravy train. I'm going to be next. If you say so, you will be, and you know it. And that's why you wouldn't allow yourself to go any further. You caught it. You know how I know? Because you're on this call. That's how I know. Because if you did not catch it and get on the call, you would be entertaining it like most people don't know better, and that's what they do, and continue this cycle. So You're going to copy your mom, you're going to copy your dad, you're going to copy your aunt, you're going to copy your grandparents, and you're going to get the diseases and you get the heart failure and get the hypertension, blah, 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 blah. It's like we pass it down. like some gross meal and we keep handing it out and everybody in our family goes, oh yeah, I'll take some of that. Oh, thank you very much. But yeah, we don't want this for our own kids. So why do we allow this to happen in our own body? Why do we tolerate this? So you are also getting to the quantum mechanics of cellular DNA and programming from your ancestors. How about that? How far do you want to go? Do you want to pull this thing out by the root system or not? You got to get to the bottom of it. You got to go all the way. If you're going to clean yourself out, this is how you do it. You go all the way. So let's review what you do with your ancestors. You ready? You guys are going to know all this by now, and you're going to keep knowing it every time I say it. Don't make anyone wrong. Right? Nobody did anything wrong. They didn't know. And if you have to repeat those two things 100,000 times, then do it until you feel it. You can't lie to yourself.
Oh, no.
You can't give yourself lip service. You have to feel it. They didn't do anything wrong. Pause. Let that land. Take that in, because that's going to start healing you and reversing any signs of dis-ease the second you acknowledge that. Because what happens is if you still think they're wrong for not eating right and doing it right and all that, what happens is you'll become the martyr. And you will also want to process for them, take it off of their shoulders, or feel closer to your family. We can all have it together. Let's all have diabetes together. You see what I mean? So to let them off the hook and say, they're not wrong, you're letting yourself off the hook. So when you say they're not wrong, you're whitewashing, you're cleansing, power washing your window. You're cleaning it out. Get all the debris out, all the corners, go all the way down, do a good job, do a good cleaning job. No half-assing. You got to go all the way. They did nothing wrong. You let that hit you, reverberate like waves. Take it as far back as you got to go inside of you until you acknowledge and are at peace with the idea they did nothing wrong. When you got that and you lock that in, you're ready to go to the next step. They didn't know. Wow. It's pretty simple. They just didn't know. How would they know? Who's going to tell them? How are they going to listen? They don't even know how. Or if they're smart enough and they do know and they can listen, but they won't change it, then they're in their own self-martyrship. So they're in their own track. That's their own cycle. You can tell them till you're blue in the face. Look at us. People have told us things until they're blue in the face. Look what it takes for us to get information through, and we consider ourselves more open. Look at what it takes for us to hear things. So imagine people who don't even have the ability to listen. So you can't make them wrong for that. So then on top of that, they didn't know. So everything's now starting to feel a little bit better inside the house of you. So notice your energetic feeling body. You're going to start to feel better just in those two conversations. You'll feel a little lighter. You'll feel a little less dense. You'll feel more freedom. Yeah, you feel better. You feel more free. You feel like now we can go forward. Okay, we can go to the next step. That's pretty good. I got that under control. I feel a lot better about myself. I feel a lot better about them. I'm not making them wrong. I get that they don't know. I could offer them support. If they don't get it, it's okay. I love them. It's their process. I'll do my best. If somebody has an SOS sign saying, I need your help, Torrent, or I need your help, Al, you'll take time out for that person to give as much as you can.
Right.
The end. But you can't self-sacrifice yourself for the cause. Don't put yourself on the chopping block. Don't lay yourself down on the altar to be sacrificed because somebody else is doing it.
Right.
Why would you need to do that? To prove what?
No clue.
Yeah. It's just habits. It's old passed down traditions and habits from ancient biblical times. They come from the Egyptians, who knows, Sumerian.
Heirlooms. Heirlooms.
Yeah, these old traditional sacrificial martyrship kind of conversations. So you're clearing your hard drive. You're 100% clearing your hard drive. If you work on just those two things, you guys, you have no idea how much space you are going to clear in your hard drive and in your heart center, your heart chakra. You're just not going to even believe it. You are just going to be so blown away because this whole time in the back of your mind, you were making them wrong.
Right.
And you didn't even know you were. You just felt sorry for them because you wanted to help them. You thought you were doing the right thing. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were just feeling bad for them and you would try to help them. And so therefore you kind of worried about them and then you said some bad things about it. So without really realizing it, you were making them wrong. And it wasn't like you're intending to any harm on anyone. You just didn't feel good for them. You wanted to help them and you just didn't know how.
Right.
So we're all learning. So take yourself off this chopping block that you did anything wrong. So they didn't do anything, you didn't do anything. You're clearing the data field, completely cleaning it out so you can feel better. Now you can move into your own storylines. This is where it gets really fun. You're like the I'm going to do a throwback. You guys are like the Encyclopedia Britannica. Ray might not know what I'm talking about.
No idea.
She has no idea. That's kind of fun, actually, right? That she doesn't know. That's like, we live off of the Encyclopedia Britannica.
It's a good symbol showing that we can break the cycle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So once you release your family, now you can go into yourself. Now, I want to pause here for a second. In this spot, there's many ways you can do self-healing. You can see a healer who has a modality. There's people that do equine therapy, which are horse therapy, that usually deals with family dynamics because they're herd animals. So, you know, these horses are trained and they're psychic, and you can find them all over the world. There's groups that run these companies, but you just go, and I've done it. It's really, really tremendously amazing. And they will actually role play the horse. You and the horse alone in the corral will role play the family members. And there's a way that it's done with the facilitator. Well, they'll ask questions and the horse will respond, and then you respond. It's like supernatural. It's an incredible way to view how you see your family dynamics through a horse. You guys can look into it. It's really amazing. So that's one modality. Then there's other modalities, like there's people who do actual like crystal, therapy and light therapy and acupuncture and light acupuncture and doing deep tissue massage, like it's kind of like Ralphing, like you're going in, Ralphing I think it's called, but you're going in underneath the fascia, you're going deep into the stories where you pack it into your body, you won't let anybody in there, you can't even get to them, and so they help manipulate that. Also great chiropractors, alpha biotic people who release the tension and pressure from your spine and your body and open you up so you can literally have a physical release. People who do cranial sacral, which is, manipulation of the face and the bones in the face and inside the mouth, up in the wisdom teeth, all in the gum lines, all into the mouth. Now, I've done that on myself, by the way. I didn't have the time. I was really ill one day and I got the hit that I need to do a cranial sacral therapy on myself, and I did. And I just let my hands go loose and I let the guides take over, and I started at the crown chakra. I worked around my ears, all the way around my back, my jaw, around my face, inside, all over, in, all the way like this, and pushing, pressure, stretching. Whew, it was amazing. You can also do your own acupuncture. You can squeeze your hands. There's pressure points. You can go online and find out pressure points. There's all sorts of physical things you can do and modalities you can participate in that you can have some release. So you're not like burdened with the idea of processing 30 or 40 years worth of storage data on your own. Also, some people like to do plant medicine journeys for this purpose. And there's so many different kinds that you can do. And they also release, there's forms of releasing. Those are, of course, way more intense. And you need a shaman, an experienced shaman, to walk you through that experience. But what happens is you have a full opening, a full releasing in all of your bodies, in the quantum field. And so it's extremely impactful. And that's why so many people have been doing it since the beginning of time. So that is important to look at. So there's all these different things you can do. I call it your healing journey. You would be on your healing path. You acknowledge it and start to, it's kind of like you pack your bags and get ready to go on this journey. So when I went on my healing journey to heal myself from 13 years of alcoholism, I 100% acknowledged that I'm on a healing journey, and it took me 5 straight years of doing every single thing you can possibly imagine. Every new technology, biofeedback machines, you name it, healers of every kind. I went to everyone and cleaned out my system, repaired my kidneys and my liver that were thrashed, repaired my glandular system that was taxed, repaired my adrenal glands and all my, my glandular system. It was all repaired. And then I rebalanced my hormones because of that. Now it's coming back. Because I drank so much and I was cooking the inside of my body with poison, I was so toxic that I started to develop signs of an autoimmune disease.
Oh,
And they hadn't even diagnosed which one. They just said, you have all the signs.
wow.
Now, most people, when they get that diagnosis, they go, well, that's the end, I guess. Now I go on a bunch of meds.
Wow. You're
Then
a
what I
fighter.
did, as I researched to find out why, I wanted to know why my kidneys were failing. I wanted to know why my liver was toxic. I wanted to know why my gallbladder wasn't working right, why my spleen wasn't producing the results it needed to. I wanted to understand why my blood was toxic and had heavy metals. I needed to understand. I became my own scientist and my own doctor to understand, and 100% reversed and completely cleared my system 100%. I restructured my entire body, and I'm disease-free, or like I'm back in homeostasis. So, and that just takes motivation. You just have to want to, but to get there first, you can't make anything wrong.
Right.
Because if you start to make something wrong, you'll get wobbly and you can fall off your horse. You won't be able to make the ride because you'll get scared and you'll say, I can't do this. It's too much. It's too big. There's too many things I have to do. Where do I begin? I have too many ailments. It seems so evasive. Or you can even say, I'm too tired. Now, I was too tired also. I was in bed. I was bedridden off and on for years. And I went to India. I got a parasite, which added insult to injury, which was all just divine process, of course. And so now I'm fighting for my life with it, with a parasite. But what I was getting was that it was about me slowing down and acknowledging. And what I had to acknowledge was I was killing myself.
Right.
I had to just get really clear.
Get inside there.
I was just killing myself. So I couldn't play games anymore with myself. I had to decide whether or not I wanted to finish this life out. Was it worth it? Was I too exhausted? I was too exhausted. But then I had to decide if it was worth it me being here on the planet. That was a big decision I had to make because I was burned out. So I didn't know if I wanted to continue. And the kids, of course, are what keeps you here. But at the same time, you just hang by a thread and hope that you make it. But your kids are watching you do that too. So you're feeding them false information. You're telling them that's going to be really hard and they're only 15 and 20 and 5. And that information going into the minds of a very impressionable young person is very dangerous. So I had to watch myself very carefully, my behavior, and I had to keep it from them. I did a lot of private healing, so I didn't make it very obvious to them. They just knew that I was coming back to life. They didn't know that I was fighting for my life until they were older. And they found out that I decided to stay. So if you're feeling it right now, it's for you. Give yourself a big hug right now. We are all holding you. We're together with you. As I told you from the start, this is going to be a very emotional and sensitive trigger type of session because it's very personal and you're dealing with your own interactions with yourself. And it requires a lot of calm peacefulness with yourself to let yourself know it's okay. It's okay that you are here. It's okay that you did this. It's okay that you're going to get through it. It's okay that it's hard, and it's okay. And you just keep telling yourself that, and you keep letting yourself know it's okay, and you'll start to eventually get out of the spin out. You'll stop the spin out. You'll slow everything way, 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 way down, all the way back to the womb. You keep going slower. This one's for you, Al, especially. You keep going slower and slower and slower, and notice how you like it better when you're listening, when it's at this pace. Do you see how it feels better to your ears, to your brain, to your body? Do you notice you crave simplicity, innocence, returning to yourself, the love that you are? That's why you like things that are like this. You can't explain it. You can't figure out why, but you just know you feel the best when it's at this pace. And guess what? I can go even slower than this, which is even better. Because now we're going all the way in. When it's too loud and too strong, you get nervous. You get uptight. You get scared. When it comes down to here, this pace, your whole body responds. Your whole system understands what I'm doing. Notice. This is your operating state. This is where you start everything. Do you recognize this location? You feel it in your belly button. You feel it in your heart. Something about this sounds familiar. You're remembering. Right, Christy? You remember. If you take a look at your faces, they have morphed. While I'm talking, your faces have changed. Do you see why? Look at Christy's face. See the angel? Let's look at Sharma. She's so little, so cute. Leslie calmed way down. Ray looks balanced. Al is about to take over the world. And Torque is floating in ecstasy. This is what you have to give yourself. Imagine. Nothing stopped you from speaking like this to yourself. What would that be like? Pleasant, easy, relaxed, peaceful, not on guard. Nothing's wrong. You might have a shot at this. You might be able to pull it off. You might be able to do the whole race, the whole run, because you found your center. And that actually is the next pod I'm going to be doing, is finding your center in chaos. I'm not going to start the pod from here, but I will take you here. It's all connected. All these pods are connected. It's all one big conversation. Healing conversation. Returning to home conversation. Making nothing wrong conversation. Knowing who you are conversation. It's all for you. Now notice no one's in a big hurry for me to go back to the way I was talking before.
Mhm.
See? You're like, it's okay, you can keep going like this.
That's the first time I've ever felt it all down the center, ever.
Yep. It's taken me years and years and years and years to understand not only how to speak from here, but how to teach from here. It's really fun, isn't it?
You know what, Miss Oriah?
Yes.
You could make me a good meditation, guided meditation video to sleep. I want to sleep, but in a good way sleep. I'm tired.
I should
We're
make,
all tired.
well, I just put you guys to sleep. So, Christy, you may not even need to go on the Center Yourself for Chaos podcast. You don't need to do that. If you feel really comfortable right now and you feel really good, you can go to sleep after this. And if those of you who want to join the second podcast, I will start from a different place, but it's going to be showing you how you can still be in the middle of chaos all around you. And you can still be talking to yourself from here. It's very important that you learn how to do this. This is how you're going to stay sane. This is how you're going to let yourself live longer. This is how you're going to be able to heal your body in seconds. This is where all your power is. This is all your chakras lit up at once.
Well, it's all gold, and the center is the a different color.
Right.
I had that. When I opened my eyes, everything was kind of yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Gold.
You
Yeah.
were seeing your auric field. You were looking at your aura.
That's crazy. That was good, but like
Yes.
mind-blowing.
So you guys would never believe, and I'm going to continue talking like this until the time is up. You're never going to believe this, but communication is all there is, really. Think about it. In your dream state and your waking state, it's all communication, forms of communication. You're communicating with yourself, you're communicating with others, you're letting yourself know you're okay or not okay. It's always information being communicated. So if you focus not on what's wrong and how to fix it, but you focus on communication, you are in the eye of Horus, the eye of the storm, the eye of God, the eye of the cosmic wonder. You are in the center when you focus on communication. That's really what you're here to learn. Your whole life is all about how to communicate here and internally and with others and interplanetary and interdimensionally. Communication. Calm communication. And if you can't do this calm communication right away, don't make yourself wrong. It's a very deep program we have that we're supposed to make ourselves wrong all the time, 24/7. And if we don't make ourselves wrong, something's wrong with us. You're constantly needing to make yourself wrong. Just notice that.
Mhm.
When you were a kid, did you guys used to run up to the ice cream truck to get your ice cream? Did you ever have that experience?
Still do.
Still,
Ma'am.
Ray, have you ever done that? They don't have
Didn't
that,
ice cream.
Trance,
No.
but you have something maybe similar, maybe going to get ice cream. There's a point when you're about to order. I think we reach the highest form of godliness in that moment, don't we?
Absolutely.
It doesn't get any better than just about to give your order.
Right.
It's the best feeling in the world because you're about to give yourself a treat. So imagine if you lived your life on the edge of that moment, inside of that moment, that you are about to give yourself a treat constantly. What would happen to you? Who would you become?
Right.
How would your life change? You're staying in the, it's called staying in the grace. You're in the grace. It's not a grace period that's going to come and go. You stay in an eternal grace, and grace and gratitude are one. So you have gratitude for your experience and you're in your grace. There's wonderment, there's joy and peace in that moment, and you get to experience it as many times as you want. So if you start thinking you're alone, and let's say you really are alone, you're in hibernation or lockdown, whatever you want to call it, imagine that you don't feel alone because you are connected to this feeling.
Right.
So you feel magic. So there's no such thing as alone, really,
No.
because you're in communion with yourself. You're having fun with yourself. This is a great opportunity. That's why this big ascension is happening on the planet to everyone. So many people are waking up. It's because finally we have the time to stop and be with ourselves. And this is what we've all wanted. And sure, there was a period of time where everybody freaked out and had tantrums, but we calmed down. A lot of us calmed down and realized this is the best thing for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, let's all take a collective deep breath together. In, 1, 2, 3, and in. Do another one. 1, 2, 3, and in. And hold and release when you're ready. So I would like you all to repeat after me. We're going to say it in unison. First I say it and you repeat it, and then we'll say it together as one, and then we'll close. So what you're going to say is, I am not wrong.
I am not
I'm not wrong.
Wrong.
No one is wrong.
No one
No one
is
is
One is
wrong.
wrong.
Okay, we'll do one more time together. I
I
I
am not wrong.
not wrong.
no one.
No
No
one.
one
No one
Is
wrong.
is
It's
wrong.
wrong.
No one is wrong.
No one is wrong.
And in this state and the way the world is right now, that is a very, very important conversation to have with yourself. So you don't get sucked in and sideswiped by what is happening.
Right.
You stay centered in your grace, in your healing abilities, in all the parts of you that you love, you bring it to the surface. Okay? All right. So I will see you guys next time, and thank you so much for joining me.
Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Love you all.
Love you.
Love you.
Guys.
Bye-bye.